All right, we're a week out from, I don't know, maybe even a little bit more from really dealing with the weather and all the destruction that Hurricane Helene left in its wake. So we know that last week App State canceled their football game. High school football was canceled across the western part of the state of North Carolina. And joining us just to give us an idea of what we can or cannot expect this weekend, Nick Stevens, managing editor, highschoolot.com. All right, where are we with, I know there are a lot of teams, schools that didn't play last week, either in advance of the storm or in the wake of the storm. I can't imagine a ton has changed out in the Asheville area and surrounding counties, but where are we?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. Outside of the mountains, everybody is playing this week. It's week 7 of the high school football season. We're in conference play now, and everybody's getting ready for the home stretch of the regular season. In the mountains, it's a little bit different. Some areas, like the farthest west you can possibly go, like the Murphy area, they're actually playing this week, the Smoky Mountain Conference.
Really?
They did not have the level of impact that areas around Buncombe County and Mitchell County, Avery County, up towards Boone had. So they're actually able to play. And then into the foothills area, you have the Catawba Valley area. That conference is playing this week as well. In fact, some of them played on Wednesday night, trying to make up some of the games that have been missed, and will play again tomorrow. So they're trying to get games in so that they can finish the regular season. The question is what's going to happen in some of those conferences and school districts and towns where there has just been such terrible damage, like around Asheville. And frankly, no one really has an answer right now. You talk to some people who are hopeful that they'll be able to get back on the field at some point. You talk to other people who are like, I don't know how we'll ever play football this fall.
Right.
And it's not necessarily that the schools have been damaged or that the fields have been damaged or what. That is the case in some places, but it's a matter of you can't get to the schools. Like, the infrastructure in town has been wiped out. The roads are gone. There's no running water. There's not electricity. And those are not conditions in which you can have a high school football game. And some of the schools as well, Watauga High School is being used as a shelter and a place to distribute goods that are needed in the community. So there's a lot of things that are a lot more important than high school football right now in those areas. And but with that being said, I think that the people involved in those schools will tell you that if they can get sports going again, they want to, because it gives kids a chance to do something that's a little bit normal in the middle of a true disaster in the western part of our state.
Nick Stevens is joining us here, managing editor of highschoolot.com. It was funny, when you were in studio on Monday, you're talking about a stadium that is gone, that has been completely destroyed. And, we think about all of the damage done to stadiums and schools and towns. But the other part of that is what it has done to people and put them out of their homes. You talk about one of the high schools being used as a staging area. There are places being used as shelters. So while maybe we could get people into a stadium to execute a high school football game, are the players, are the coaches, are the people who are needed to put these games on, are they capable of giving the however many hours of time on game day, however many hours of time to prepare for these games? I mean, what are the chances of those things impacting everything?
Well, I tweeted yesterday, there's a lot of people on social media. Maybe that's my fault for reading comments on social media, but there's a lot of people on social media who are making this seem like a simple solution, just play the games at a different field.
Right.
Well, it's not that simple. Like, you're talking about kids and coaches and staff members who themselves have lost their homes, don't have vehicles because they have been flooded. I talked to an athletic director. I don't want to mention which school because I don't have permission to do that. But there is a school that has sustained damage at their stadium. I talked to their athletic director, and they were at their family's house because their family's house is destroyed by a flood. They're trying to help them, get stuff
Right.
cleaned up the best they can. The other thing is, a lot of these places where you don't even have basic running water, which means like you don't have bathrooms that work. That people have evacuated. They've gone to other places, so like the kids may not even be there to practice
Right.
and play. And a sport like football, you can't just go from not practicing and playing to let's go play a game. Like you just can't do that. It's a safety problem. So I don't know. I don't know how that's going to be resolved, and I don't think anybody does. And I think that's also why we haven't heard from the NCHSAA yet about whether or not they're going to extend the season or change the calendar, because they can't get a grasp on it. And there's also communications problems. Like it's hard to get in touch with some people at some of these schools in the most affected areas because communications are still down in a lot of places. So it's just a really tough situation out there. And even if the stadiums are good to go, the people are not, and the infrastructure around it is not necessarily there. So I don't know when it'll resume again in the mountains, and I'm not sure that anybody really has a good guess on that at the moment.
Yeah, in some ways, I think it brings back pandemic kind of memories because there's just so much uncertainty. All right, final thing for Nick Stevens, managing editor, High School OT. There are ways, I know the Hurricanes have been involved here with some relief efforts. How are there relief efforts that people who are really interested, high school football, fans, or just general people who are listening to this program? Are there ways they might be able to help?
Yeah, there are high schools all over the state of North Carolina doing donation drives, fundraisers. A lot of them are happening at football games tonight, where they're collecting essential items to distribute in Western North Carolina. We've done our best to keep a running list of that on High School OT, but frankly, there are so many of them. I know we're missing some. So check with your school, or if you're on the road at a different school, check and see what that school's doing. They're posting all that stuff on the school social media sites, on their websites. In Wake County, I know that there's a junior at Athens Drive who has helped organize almost a district-wide effort that is going through next Friday night, where you can take stuff to pretty much any Wake County high school and drop it off. We have a list of all those schools on High School OT as well. So there's a lot of people who are stepping up. I've heard from some other districts about some big efforts that are going to be announced soon. There's one on the coast that is going to be pretty interesting, I think, to look at. They're not ready to announce those details,
Gotcha.
but we will have that on High School OT. Hopefully this weekend or early next week.
That is Nick Stevens, managing editor, High School OT. Appreciate your time, sir. Have a good weekend, and I will talk to you next week.
Appreciate it, Adam.
You got it. Nick Stevens, managing editor of High School OT.